Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video. It's just going to be a short and very brief overview of how to search for and recognise thermals using the food vector system. So, finding and recognising thermals. Okay. The food vector is a technique used and was originally shown to me by Joe Works many years ago. Fairly common way of finding thermals and using the clues to get towards them. So hopefully I can impart a little bit of that knowledge and you can go and play with it yourself. Those that made the presentation day I did in Hamilton a couple of months back, actually during the spoken part of my presentation it was actually very good because conditions were such that I was able to point out the thermals as they were going past, and most people I think saw and felt what I was talking about then. Maybe a little bit more difficult on a board and on a video, but we'll give it a try. Okay, so the food vector as shown here. Okay, you've got to find the thermal, so there's clues that help you. We don't just launch and hope, we generally launch and know that there's something out there, and this is how we know. Okay, you've got to detect that there's some thermal inflow. Okay, you get the wind changes, speed, direction, warmth as well. Okay, and you've got to watch for a wind shift and not confuse that with the actual inflow. It might actually just be a wind shift. On the ground, you can look for the third vector in trees, in the grass. A classic one from Turkey was there was a very long tree line downwind of the launch area, and we were able to look at that tree line, and you'd see the trees at one end would be stirred up and moving around and getting blown all over the place by the thermal that was going through them, whereas the trees at the other end would be dead still. And so it was quite obvious which end of the trees you wanted to head towards. That's just one example of a ground sign. Okay, little example here. Okay, you've got the current wind and the thermal inflow, resulting in what's known as the third vector. I'll try and draw a little diagram for you in a minute and explain that a little better. Okay, so I'm just going to try and draw on the screen for you now an improved diagram. Okay, so let's say this is you in the field with your glider. Okay, and all day long the wind is coming straight down the field towards you. Then at some point what happens is a thermal is generated. Okay, now that thermal is sucking in air from all directions. Okay, because that thermal at a ground level is looking like that, and it's drawing in air to start rising. Okay, so you can see what's happened here is that you, the pilot there with your plane, what you're going to feel is that this wind that's been coming all day long has suddenly calmed off or stopped, and because it's been cancelled out by this draw into the thermal. It's as simple as that. So you'll actually feel a lull in the wind, and that should be a clear view that there's a thermal directly upwind of you. Conversely, okay, should you now be not here, but if you're, say, over here, because the thermal hasn't formed directly upwind of you, because it never does, well, hardly ever does. Okay, so what you're going to feel is all day long you've had the wind coming like this, you've now got the thermal over on your right hand side drawing in air, so you're going to feel a slight shift in the wind there. So what you actually have is the resulting of this and this gives you a wind change like so. Okay, so what you'll feel is a very slight shift in the wind coming across to your right hand side. Okay, and this is where the transmitter stream is really important. Effectively, you want to fly to where the stream is pointing. If the stream is pointing to the right hand side, you want to fly out the right hand side. If the streamer's pointing to the left hand side, you want to fly out the left hand side. If the streamer's pointing back up the wind, back up the winch line that way, you should want to go that way, and so on. So that's a really simplistic representation of it. I'll try and explain it again a little more. Okay, so the same thing. I'll do it again. Here you have little old Les is out there in the weekend practicing for the World Champs coming up. Okay, he's standing in the middle of the field, and he's got his glider. Okay, and the wind's been coming from here all day long, and then all of a sudden, so it's just transmitter streamer's pointing straight back at himself all day long when he's looking into the wind, and all of a sudden this streamer comes off on a about a 30-degree angle. Okay, so that tells him what's happening there is that there's this third vector, which is this one here. So what's probably happening is out here, that thermal is generated out there and it's sucking all that air in, and it's creating that slight shift in the wind across. And so you'd want to search to the left hand side, not the right hand side. And when you get better at this, you start to know whether that thermal is in front of you or whether it's already gone past. And one of the things we do a lot in F3J and in sort of advanced thermal storing anyway is we don't do a search pattern anymore. We generally know where we're going before we launch, especially in F3J. So what we actually need to do before we even launch is know our preferred side. If you know there's a thermal right there next to you, there's no need to take a long tow and waste time. You can take a short tow, get off the line and get straight to the thermal. You only need enough height to get to your first thermal. And that's the key to F3J is the call and the decision of how long of a tow to take to get to that first thermal. You can err on the safe side, take a long tow, or be a little risky, take a short tow and try and beat the other guys. Same again, just for simplicity. Okay. If you know there's a thermal here and it's drifting with the wind off down here, okay, so by the time you launch, you're feeling a slight wind shift to the left, okay, because of the result of that change from the air getting drawn in down here. What you'll actually also then, as it's gone past you, is you'll feel an increase in that wind speed because it's now drawing in that direction, okay, as it's gone past you as well. So you end up with the wind speed plus the thermal generated wind speed, so you sense a gust. Okay, that gust is the thermal inflow that we feel. In the first example, the thermal forms in front of you, you feel the wind die off, okay? And if you're lucky, the thermal moves right through you, it gets hot and calm, and then as the thermal moves past you, it gets windy, because you've got the wind speed plus the thermal inflow, okay? There's no need to go looking up here for another thermal, because you damn well know that there's one down here, okay? And that's how we operate. So, yeah. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into how we go about finding and recognising the thermals when we're out on the field. It's now about 2.5 weeks before we leave for France. Hopefully this weekend the team majority of the team are getting together in Auckland for a practice session. 2 whole days of pretty hard out, lots of launching and landing, and prove our models and to prove some of our new towing gear that we've got. So it should be a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, and we should end up pretty well prepared by the end of it. I'm actually modelling today the team shirt. This is what the pilot's going to be wearing. Just picked them up about 2 hours ago. Thanks very much to one of our guys who is a screen printer by trade, and he does us some pretty fantastic deals. Anyway, hopefully this gives you the little pointers you need, and when you're next out on the field you'll recognise these wind shifts and be able to make use of them to help you find some thermals and extend your flights and have a good time. Thank you very much for your support.